If you are new to our channel, you might assume that I am just this guy that makes videos on failed companies. But no, our company, Slidebean, is actually around 30 people. We are a venture-funded startup, and our core business is not video. It's presentation design. Now, I don't want to jinx it, but we are on our way to 100,000 subscribers. And it's a defining moment for our company, where YouTube is not only our primary source of customers for Slidebean, but the videos themselves, the ads, the sponsorships that we are getting are already a business of its own. Without intention, we created a new profitable business that sells the other business. It's like marketing nirvana. Anyway, this felt like the right time to reflect on this 6-year journey, especially on the stuff that nobody told me about. So here it is. Number 1, what I would be doing. What does a CEO do? Well, kind of everything, and my job changes every week. This week, I'm making sales. We have a sales team, of course, but I wanted to understand the ins and outs of how the funnel works and what our customers are asking for. So I've been taking calls as a sales agent. I took in a fake name so people don't know it's me, but if you dial into Slidebean, you might get me on the phone. Last week, I worked with my marketing team on merging our email platforms to send emails to everyone more efficiently. Also, I worked with the devs on some new programmatic emails. The week before, I was working on closing our newest hire, somebody to lead our Slidebean agency branch. That's the part of the company that does presentation design consulting. And next week, I have to work on the paperwork for our investors to convert their notes into stock. Hello, investors, if you're watching. The point is, I don't get to do what I want. I get to do what the company needs me to do. Sometimes that's fun and exciting, and sometimes it's not. But my job is mostly an enabler, not even a project manager, but a project starter. I start little projects and initiatives within the company, sometimes stuff that I'm really excited about, sometimes stuff that I really want to work on. But I quickly realize that I just can't, and I need to move into something else and therefore delegate them. Lately, as this channel has grown and as our business has grown, I also spend a lot of time talking to other entrepreneurs, i.e. our customers. Whether it's for reviewing their pitch deck or helping with their fundraising plans, I do back-to-back calls all morning, and then I try to keep my afternoons free for work. So the bad here is, the time is never enough. Balancing work and life gets harder and harder. I made a video about it on my personal YouTube channel, which I also spend some time on. The good here is, I get to impact a lot of people. Hopefully, I get to be that person that unlocks new capacities in our team. I am rarely bored, always brainstorming, always solving or at least trying to solve problems. It's very fulfilling, especially when we hear from the entrepreneurs on the other side and how our content has helped them. Appreciate the comments and keep them coming. Number 2, twice the team is not twice the productivity. This one took me a while to grasp. When we first doubled our team from 3 founders to 6 people total, I felt like we genuinely doubled productivity. We all moved in sync, there was little project management or bureaucracy required. We just took a task and did it. We, the founders, felt how productivity truly doubled. But that's as far as it goes. When you cross 8 or maybe 10 employees, things start looking very differently. You need task management, delegation, and those tasks are tasks of their own. Time is spent communicating between teams and making sure everybody's on the same page, so it's not double the productivity. I was incredibly frustrated at first until eventually I just kind of accepted that this is just the reality of bigger teams, and it's just okay, I guess. Number 3, how money becomes immaterial. In 2018, for the first time in our history, we had over $1 million in company expenses in a year. That means $1 million came and went from our bank accounts, which was absolutely nuts, and I also made a video about it. Now, on my first job back in Costa Rica, I was making around $800 a month, and after being pretty broke through high school and early college, $800 a month was a lot of money. And how could I have expected that 10 years later I'd be spending $1 million in a year? Now, sadly, it sort of becomes spreadsheets and forms. It's sometimes kind of overwhelming, but your job as a CEO is keeping those numbers black, not red, and you hardly have the time to stop and think how much that money actually represents. It's weird because during the day, I'm subscribing to this new platform that we need, that may be $99 a month, and I don't think about it twice. But at home, I have to stop and think if I really want to rent that $5.99 flick I've been meaning to watch. Now, time for a shameless plug. We are building a new platform to help you keep track of these expenses. It's called Monthly. Much easier to pronounce that Slidebean, which is a lesson we also had to learn. Number 4, building things from scratch is usually a mistake. When you're presented with the option of building a new feature from scratch, or using an API or library or tool that already solves it, you're going to be tempted to build it yourself. At least we were, I was, because it's cheaper. Well, it's not really cheaper. You and your team have, or should have, a unique expertise in what you're building. Taking time away from that is not only expensive because of the team's time, but because of the time that you lost. That's time that you lost to other competitors to move ahead. That's time that you lost for your runway. That's time that you lost maintaining and fixing bugs in these features. That is time lost designing slides when you could just click a button and have them designed for you. Number 5, the importance of community and network. We did a couple of startup accelerators back when we were starting up. We did Dream It in New York and 500 Startups in San Francisco. And most of the people I know in the startup world, I met at both of those programs. Now, I get to brag a little bit now, but Yossi Ginsberg, for example, was in one of those programs. Daniel Radcliffe played him in the movie Jungle. So was the team at Headout, and then Pete from Jackpocket. Insane companies, much larger than Slidebean is for sure. I remember overlooking the Stripe accounts of one of the companies that was sitting next to us and seeing how they were making like 10 times our revenue back then. And I felt like a real challenge to get up the following day and hack some new ways to catch up. Now, I don't get to see these fellow entrepreneurs that often, but when we sit down for a beer or, a call, my head gets out of the bubble that my company is, and I often find myself in awe of the stuff that they've achieved and how they've been able to solve and overcome their trouble. Call it admiration, call it competitive spirit. Surrounding yourself with people who are smarter than you makes a ton of a difference. Now, I do wish I had spent more time getting to know more of them, of the companies around us. I look back now at the connections that I did make, and then I feel sorry for not befriending more of these smarter people. In the end, however, I think that the startup community is very supportive. We know the struggle, we know what other CEOs have to go through, and we are generally willing to help, as long as it just takes us a couple of minutes and we can get back to work. Number 6, you can never log off. It's very hard to stop thinking about your business. If you're doing great, your mind is going miles an hour, and it's really easy to get lost in work and disconnected from your loved ones. But 6 years later, with your mind fully dedicated to your company, it is exhausting. There's this saying that building a company is a marathon and not a sprint. And when I heard it, I disregarded it as one of those motivational poster messages. But boy, is that the right quote. Believe it or not, I sometimes wake longing for a 9-to-5 job that pays my salary at the end of the month and where I don't have to worry about the runway or the cash flow. I probably wouldn't be able to keep that job for very long, but the point here is you need to find a way to rest. I found that escape a little bit with tennis, which I play almost daily, and with Civilization 6, which I play a couple of times a month. Both require my full attention, so my brain, for once, is clear of everything that's work-related. Now, last but not least, number 7, would do it again. Now, I don't want to end a YouTube video on a low note. That's not what you're here for, is it? If there's a thing that we always wanted to do with this channel and with our content, is to be honest and transparent. Our worst case scenario would be to be counted as one of those YouTube gurus selling an impossible lifestyle. Sadly, the line is thin, so you OG subscribers should keep us in check. Call bullshit when you see it, now or in the future. The honest version of this whole starting a business thing is that it's been exhausting. I have significantly more gray hair than I would if I had that 9-to-5 job 6 years ago. I don't spend as much time with my family as I should. 30 people depend on the decisions I make, and it's fucking hard, and it's not getting easier. On the other hand, though, we have you guys and the awesome comments that you leave us, and we have a voice. And companies are raising millions of dollars with the decks that we help them make. And we make our own rules. We have tons of beer waiting for us at the office whenever we have a chance to go back after coronavirus. And when you put both of those things on each side of a balance, the choice is quite obvious. So thanks a lot for watching. You know what you have to do about that red button. See you next week.